Krishna. Now, there's a very common philosophical issue that comes up in the world, and that is uh, are we just puppets in the hand of fate, or do we have some free will? And now, in the 21st verse of the 13th chapter, which is nature, enjoyer, and consciousness, Krishna answers this question. And he points out that two things are at work, namely the world and the laws of the world, and the other is our own free will. And let me just elaborate on this. This is probably something that viewers have come across, and it goes like this. In the Sanskrit, Krishna says, Karya karanam kartitve hetu prakriti uchate purusha sukha dukkhanam bhuktitve hetu uchate. Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments of this world. Read it again, it's good. Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. So nature, because that's one of the topics that we're discussing here, nature is said to be the cause of all material effects. It's a system. The world that we live in is a system which Krishna has created. It's the creation, and that creation works by certain laws. It's just like you start some type of engine or motor. Once that engine or motor is started, it works. It has so many moving parts, and it's doing something. Either it may be a automobile engine that's taking you somewhere, or it may be, right now it's autumn and we're starting to heat, so it may be something that's heating, it may be a boiler that's heating the hot water in your house. It's doing something, and once it's in motion, it acts in a certain way, and it reacts to a certain way that we behave. You turn the knob, and the heat turns up and it gets warmer. You turn it down and it gets cooler, and in that way your room gets warmer or colder. So similarly, the world that we live in, it has a certain mechanism. When we act, then there's cause and effect. And this law of cause and effect is what we call the law of karma. Any activity we do, then immediately it causes some kind of reaction. And what we're experiencing in this world is cause and effect. You are looking at me. This is the effect of past cause. In other words, what I appear like, what I look like, this is a result of my past activities. Someone else, everybody else, looks different than Sivarama Swami. Why is that? Because they have different karma. And as a result of that, I get a different field. If you remember, Krishna said that this body is the field of knowledge. So we have a different field. Nature gives us a different body according to our activities and according to our desires. So therefore here it said nature is the cause of all material causes and effects. So this world is engaging and moving according to a law of karma, and it is rewarding or punishing everyone according to their activities in so many different ways. So I have a span of life, length of life. I'm 71 years old. However many years I'm going to live, that's also determined by the law of karma. How I appear, that also by the law of karma. My physical condition, if I have some ailment, These are all laws of cause and effect. So, whether some viewer is very wealthy or whether they are not so wealthy, that is also part of cause and effect. And that's the world that we live in. So, that is karma. But Krishna says, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyment. So we are the cause. That means we do have free will. We have free will. We have free will to act. But when we act, then the mechanism of the material world kicks in and it will give us the result of our activities. If it's good activity, we get a good result. If it's bad activity, then we get a concomitant result. So in this way, we enjoy and suffer in this world. So in answer to what are we in this world? Are we puppets of fate or do we have free will? Here in the Bhagavad Gita, the answer is both. We have free will to act, but once we act, then we are subject to the laws of karma. And therefore, both of these things are there. Now, this is a philosophical concept, and I recognize that it's not an easy one. But if we see that here is a machine, the mechanism of the material world, you have the free will to turn up the heat and turn down the heat, but whichever you do on your heater, then the result will be that. If you heat it up, then you're going to get warm and you're going to sweat. That is going to be the karma. And if you turn it down, then you're going to be cold. You enjoy, you suffer. So the law of karma is there, and simultaneously our free will is also there. And both of these things interact. We have the free will to act, but when we do, then karma gives us the result of that activity. And in order to make things a little more complicated, and the reaction or that enjoyment in suffering, that is also going to influence our free will, isn't it? Because when we suffer, then what do? Then we immediately act in order to become free from that suffering. So we perform another activity that's influenced by our karma. And therefore, in this sense, free will doesn't completely explain what happens. It's more like we actually have willpower or the ability to exert our will. But for it to be completely free, you have to be free from the influence of karma. And that's called being liberated. And that's where we want to go. And it is only through bhakti yoga that one can actually really be liberated. And this we'll read about later. Karma, free will, interact to enable us to function in this world. And that is how we're moving within this world. And to actually fully manifest our will and to become free from the laws of karma. That is called the liberated state. Hare Krishna.